we are probably going to be talking a lot, I mean a lot, about the ongoings in Northern Ireland for, well, quite some time, because, as we've said before, the consequences for, well, screwing up the peace process in Northern Ireland are going to be very, very bad. Very, very bad. And it's not just the question of the UK government screwing this up, it is the question of factions in Northern Ireland screwing this up. More specifically, the DUP, and certainly sections of the Unionist, shall we say, echelons, who hated not only the Northern Ireland Protocol, but the Good Friday Agreement as well. And partly of the reason why they supported Brexit was that they saw this as an opportunity to try and get rid of the Good Friday Agreement. And even now, these moves that they are making against the protocol really are more directed against the Good Friday Agreement, because, as we said, when Liz Truss gave her speech a couple of last week now, you had the DUP leader stand up and say the DUP is not going to tolerate a border in the Irish Sea. Liz Truss's current ideas of fixing the Northern Ireland Protocol, or her at least changing the Northern Ireland Protocol, do not remove that border. The DUP are not going to go back into power sharing so long as that border exists. And that is the state of play where we are in. It's a very sad state of affairs, I will say that now, and I can't believe, Unionists would agree to such what would be a disastrous move to, well, essentially destroy one of the most successful peace processes in the entire world. But of course, before we go diving more into the situation, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. So let's dive on into what's been going on, because there has been a US delegation over in Northern Ireland, as we've mentioned and talked about before. Biden was sending one over. Well, this is what, shall we say, has happened during the delegation over. And as we've said before, the DUP have once again hinted heavily that unless that border goes, they ain't re-entering into a power sharing agreement. And this could have all kinds of really bad consequences. It goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago. The DUP are prepared to start crisis after crisis after crisis until they get what they want. They saw how the Brexiteers managed to pretty much achieve a almost, hard right Brexit as possible, and still want a hard right Brexit as possible, just by doing the same thing. And they are prepared to do exactly the same. So let's go diving into this then. So this comes from The Guardian with the title of "One-Sided. Unionists react with scorn as US delegation arrives in Ireland." Unionists have responded with scorn and skepticism to the US congressional delegation that is attempting to try and shore up support for the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Democratic Unionist Party, or DUP, has led accusations on Monday that the 9-strong delegation, which include Democrats and Republicans from the House of Representatives and Senate, was partisan and out of touch. "We're dealing with more American politicians who are one-sided," Gordon Lyons, the economy minister in the mothballed Stormont executive, told the BBC. "We're going to have a particular challenge with Congress, with Congressman Neal," he said, referring to Richard Neal, the chair of the Ways and Means Committee. On others, such as Jamie Boylston, a prominent loyalist, went further and accused Neal, an ally of President Joe Biden, of supporting the IRA. "We are going to be dictated to. We aren't going to be dictated to by some foreign politician acting as a surrogate for republicanism," he tweeted. So already you can see the Unionists have set out their position, and they are pretty much entrenching into this. As I just said earlier, they are prepared to start crisis after crisis until they get what they want, and that is the border in the Irish Sea gone, and a hard land border put between the North and the Republic. That is what they want. That is their aim. That is their ultimate goal. But of course, you can't do that because, well, that will start other problems. And it's pretty much almost back to, well, pre 1997 levels of trouble in Northern Ireland. And we do not want to backslide into that. The American visitors are in Ireland at the end of a 6-day trip to Europe that included meetings with the EU's Brexit Commissioner Markus Solvak and in Brussels, the UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss in London. The visit has been dominated by the protocol, a part of the UK's 2019 divorce treaty with the EU, which avoided imposing trade and customs borders on the island of Ireland by placing it in the Irish Sea. Unionist leaders say it damages the economy and undermines the region's position in the UK. No, it doesn't. The Northern Irish economy is flourishing because it has, quote, business leaders over there, the best of both worlds. They are still in the single market. They are still in the customs union. And one of the reasons Brexiteers want to get rid of the protocol is because they can hopefully remove Northern Ireland from being in those two institutions, because they do not like that you have a region of the UK that is still in those institutions that can pretty much show, oh, actually, us being in those institutions was actually a pretty good idea. Just look at how successful the economy of just that one region is that is still in those institutions. Again, this is where the DUP and the Brexiteers are sort of aligning on that. But I don't even think the Brexiteers realize that the DUP's ultimate goal is just to get rid of the Good Friday Agreement. And that could lead to some very, very bad outcomes, as we said before. So, anyway, it continues. The Americans have advised London not to unilaterally rip up parts of the protocol, saying it would violate the Good Friday Agreement, which underpins peace in Northern Ireland and wreck any potential trade deal with the US. With one saying, I think it's best whenever there is a different view to try and sit down across the table and negotiate towards a common purpose. This is the history we celebrate, and I think we think about all the benefits the Good Friday Agreement and the Democratic Congressman Dan Keel told RTE. The delegation met with Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou Donaldson and, of course, the Taoiseach, Michelle Martin, on Monday. Both lauded the visitors, reflecting a united front between Dublin and Washington on the protocol, saying, negotiation, not unilateral action, the way forward, Martin tweeted. On Thursday, Neil is set to address the Senate, the upper chamber of the Irish Parliament. The delegation is scheduled to meet the DUP leaders before returning to the US on Wednesday. It promises to be a very frosty encounter. So certainly I can expect to see more stuff coming out of that meeting. But needless to say, the DUP are not going to be very happy, and it is definitely going to be a very frosty encounter indeed. So I can definitely agree to that. In public and in private, Unionists have accused Americans of refusing to recognize that the protocol is rejected by most Unionists and thus undermines the Good Friday Agreement. So why is it rejected by them? Again, that border in the Irish Sea. But how do you solve the answer of Brexit? Because there has to be a border somewhere. And again, the DUP heavily supported Brexit. They backed Brexit from the very beginning. So, and again, they did that because it gives them an opportunity to finally get rid of the Good Friday Agreement. The DUP have hated the Good Friday Agreement ever since 1997. They were against it even to begin with back then. So this is just part of their thing. They're prepared to start crisis after crisis until they get what they want. Anyway, it continues. So on Sunday, Jeffrey Donaldson, leader of the DUP, said the delegation's call for the full implementation of the protocol was folly. Implementing the protocol means ending the grace periods with an economic tsunami hitting Northern Ireland, and power sharing only works with cross-community consensus. The DUP has thwarted the formation of the executive and the assembly at Stormont in protest at the protocol. Again, doing so is absolutely insane. When you look at sort of voting intentions, the vast majority of people in Northern Ireland back the protocol. They are doing it to essentially, well, as we said at the beginning, start a crisis to get what they want, which is to firmly put an end to the Northern Ireland Protocol, because as we've said before, you've got to have a border somewhere. This this whole thing is, where do you put the border? You can't put it between the Northern Republic, because the Good Friday Agreement explicitly says you cannot have a hard border. So where do you put it? You've got to put it in the Irish Sea. And even, as we've said, Theresa May's changes, which, and then again, we were expecting something this week, but that apparently has not gone forward. I expected as much. It's now been apparently pushed back 3 weeks. So maybe we'll get something. Maybe there'll be a big climb down, but definitely expect the DUP to continue with this. And I think the way that this is going, we will probably see another general election, which they will probably lose again. They will probably come in second. And unless somehow the Alliance Party can knock the DUP out of the second place position, we ain't going to see a power sharing return to Northern Ireland. And of course, the Alliance Party knocking the DUP out of second place position is very, very, very much impossible. We're talking like, 1% chance of them actually achieving that. It is very, very hard for them to do that. So, yeah, this is just a complete and always roundabout merry-go-round every single time. The only way you solve it is if the UK just fully rejoins the Single Market Customs Union. That is the only way to solve this, because, again, gets rid of the need for any hard borders. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And, of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a motivation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And, as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.